Let's see if it's working. Maybe I will be on both. We will see if I'm on both. Doing things a little bit different. I should be live on Twitch, and I should be live on the Clickstuff YouTube page. So let us see. I am live on Twitch. Perfect. And then am I live on the Clickstuff YouTube? Survey says perfect. And then yes, I'm live in both places. Amazing. Amazing. All right, cool. Now let me post this on Facebook. And then we'll get this Is It the Meta Session 2 going. We are going to talk today about two big things. We are going to talk about we are going to team build with the Thor and Loki duo figure. We previewed it on the Clickstuff website. It's a legacy card that I was super hopeful for. I even have them just chilling right here. Pretty sweet. So super pumped about that. Let me go ahead and post this. Twitch channel and the Clickstuff YouTube page. Come join me. Thor Loki is meta. Recruiter works. And then that will be. And then YouTube on Clickstuff. Sorry guys, let me just post this real quick. And we will get a going. So, welcome. And I'm trying something new here. I'm using Restream to stream live on my own Twitch channel and the Clickstuff YouTube page. So feel free to comment in the chat so that way I know chat is working and I don't have to do something unusual like have Twitch chat and YouTube chat up at the same time. But until I'm a Twitch partner or whatever, you can kind of do both for now. So, but anyway, tonight's session, team building session, I've been really invigorated by creating some of these live streams because I like team building in general, but I like it also talking to people and bouncing ideas off of people and sharing team building ideas. My goal now, something I really want to do as far as my Heroclix career, like a player career or something, is I want to be known as one of the best team builders. Now, obviously, I can't be PJ. Happy birthday, PJ, by the way, if you're watching this. Hopefully not, because it's like 8 o'clock on your birthday. You should be either passed out drunk somewhere or just having a blast with your wife and kid. So hopefully you're not watching this. But either way, you know, PJ, I think, will go down as by far the best team builder in Heroclix. But I don't mind being runner-up at some point. That'd be cool. So this session, we're going to talk about the Thor Loki duo. We're going to start off with that, and then we're going to break into talking about the recruiter trait. The recruiter trait is something that I feel like is a little underwhelming, but has a little bit of potential. So we're going to try to build around it a little bit and see what we can make out of this recruiter trait. But first things first, let's talk Thor Loki. So out of all the legacy cards that were previewed, I think there were 4 I would say 4 that were the most hyped. Yeah, Jackson, Doctor Strange. We're probably going to start with Doctor Strange on the Recruiter, but we'll get to there. Out of all the legacy cards that we know, Surtur, Thor Loki, the Chariot, the Thor Chariot, and Ymir, because he's a Colossal with a retail, so he's kind of interesting as well. Those are the 4 that I feel like people are most interested in outside of figures people used to play back in the day. Now, Thor Loki was 362 points, so you didn't really play him that often in 300 points, obviously. And then the Chariot, I think, was minimum 500. Now, we haven't seen any of those legacy cards. The only legacy cards we've seen thus far is Thor Loki and Scott Porter previewed the Valkyrie. I don't think we've seen any others yet. There might be something on Realms. I could go look real quick, actually, since I'm here. But since we previewed the Thor Loki legacy card the other day, I've been really tinkering with it and thinking, okay, is this good enough? Oh, yeah, the Mary Jane, I forgot about that. And I'm not seeing any new legacy cards. Which, man, we saw Bulldozer. Well, that's something new. I haven't seen Bulldozer yet. But considering they aren't going crazy about it, then maybe, let's see. Dice token. Chase. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're in a different section. Either way. Thor Loki is one that I've been hyped about. I knew a little bit about this figure. He was before my time as a Heroclix player. But what intrigued me most about him when I went and bought one of him is this part right here. Because obviously with legacy cards, they are limited by the dial, right? They're not going to change anything on the dial, because they want you to be able to use the old figure. What they're going to change is the powers, the traits, the point costs. And so Thor Loki has no standard powers. He's all white powers. So for me, that's like, oh, this is a blank canvas. And so what we got is good. Is it meta? That is what we are here to solve tonight. So let's go through the card real quick, and then I'll talk about what I'm thinking with them. So they have one trait, impervious, not invincible, impervious, which is a little sad. Thor and Loki has power cosmic, which they should if they're going to be a 250-point figure. At the beginning of your turn, you may choose a bystander on this card. If you do, Thor and Loki can use that character's standard powers until you choose again. The 2 bystanders is Thor, which comes in with charge, quake, combat reflexes, and close combat expert. And then the other option is Loki with running shot, Pensai, ESD, and prob. So that means either one you choose, and you may choose. You don't have to choose. I don't know why you wouldn't, but until you choose again. So you'll probably pick one if you know you're going against a ranged team, and you'll say, okay, I'm just going to pick Loki, and that's it. So that means you're probably, if you play right, a 20 defense starting out against most attacks. So that's solid. Movement power, sidestep, and mind control. Solid. Nothing wrong with some sidestep and mind control. Would have preferred, you're going to get your running shot from Loki, you're going to get your charge from Thor. So you already have the movement powers lined up. So sidestep, mind control, sure. Nothing wrong with that. And I should emphasize, he has his movement power for 8 clicks. He has his attack power for 5, defensive powers 4 through 7, and his damage powers 5 through 10. So he will have this to start with, energy explosion in cap. If Thor and Loki hit all targets of an attack this turn, Thor and Loki has free make an attack. So cool. He's got 2 attacks, essentially, because you're going to probably set yourself up for success. He starts with a 12 attack, and then if you're close attack, you're going to be a 13. So, okay, 12's good. You have a likely chance of hitting. Now that's a little spooky with energy explosion, because if you miss one, then you don't get a free attack. So you're probably not energy exploding a lot with him unless the setup is too sweet, like a defense team or something like that. This is one of those mid-dial defensive powers, super senses, barriers freed but only to generate one marker, so that's nice. Not great, but okay. Super senses with impervious, fine with me. Then his damage power, which once again you get for the second half of his dial. Outwit, when Thor and Loki use it after resolutions, you may heal a click. That's great. When Thor and Loki are KO'd after resolutions, you may generate a Thor bystander and a Loki bystander adjacent to the square that they last occupied. Protected, Outwit, and Pulse Wave. So that's cool. I don't know why you would need Protected Outwit, because you are power cosmic. So that might be a scenario where that's actually Secret 6 proof, right? Because I would have to look at Secret 6 and their wording again, because I assume they're not being redundant for no reason. I assume it's just to protect against, no, because they get around Protected Outwit, right? So I don't honestly see the point. Yeah, opposing characters can't use Protected Outwit. So I don't really know why Protected Outwit is there if they've got cosmic energy. They get through lowercase as well. Yeah, so what's also interesting is it says Protected Outwit. Once again, is it not Safeguard going forward? Some figures turn off team abilities. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thanks, Dad. Your dad is his name. So that's why I said that. But just a little redundant, but I get it. There are scenarios. Azure, don't say that. Don't say that. He does bust through blocking, which is good. He does shoot through elevation and hindering. That's not bad. If I were to give you before we start team building with Thor Loki, if I were to give you here's what I think about him. I think he's fringe meta. Like, I think he has the potential, if we were doing our tier maker, to be like a B, where he could maybe win a Winamap, like a smaller tournament. He might with a good player, get to a cut, but probably not. Probably not. Like every character of more than 150 points. Yeah, so obviously his biggest fear is Gladiator. Just being able to just shoot him for 6. But let's try building with him a little bit. Because I do think he still has potential. And keep in mind the length of time he's going to live, basically, when he retires. So you might look at this and say, oh, Mystics. Mystics is terrible because of retail. Well, we're entering a world with not as much retail. Like, everybody knows that Dark Phoenix is rotating. So you still have some, obviously. You still have Master Mold, you still have Abominus, you still have Giganta. But you're getting closer. If he had reduced pen or stop clicks, maybe. He might be. I think he's still probably good enough. You're going to be a 20 from range for the first couple of clicks. I get what you're saying. So he's got great keywords. Let's talk about what would you fill the other 50 points with. 50 is not a lot, but you do have options. Let's hop out here to the lab real quick. And let's talk about some of these options. Now, this is from my Avengers build, but there are some people out here we can utilize. If you just wanted to go full points, you could just go Marvel, but I think that's probably too expensive. You do want an object on him. So, I mean, if you could give Thor Loki Waldo arms, I'm not opposed to that to get 3 attacks, potentially. I think that's very solid. I think you could do that. It does say free make an attack, and that is what Waldo Arms does. But if I remember correctly, it works with Spider Hammer Eye, his free attack, and then his other thing. So I think it would still work with Waldo Arms if you rolled a 6. So that's potential. Otherwise, you could go more defensive, like giving him Nightbringer is probably either Soul Gem or Nightbringer, I think would be the best. Yeah, exactly, Azers. We came to the same conclusion. Yeah, Soul Gem. Now, is anybody else thinking about this? Like, obviously, we've got tournaments coming up. We've got PJ's event coming up in April. We've got hopefully, I want to run a Silver Age event soon. We've got the 3x3 or 3 versus 3. We've got some coming up. The Rock Cup is probably coming up soon. But we don't have that much longer with the gems. We have got 6 months? No, less than that. 5 months. 5 months with the gems. So I'm starting to think ahead a little bit. Because we're about to lose all the gems. That's a given. So, yes, right now I feel like Soul Gem is the one. Boosting him up to a 21 from range. Not super sold on Carnage Symbiote. The shape change is fine, and then KOing is fine, too, to heal. Like, anything that heals him is good. But we're looking at probably a 10-point object. Or... well, I suppose the rings go away, too, right? The rings are 2019. Let me look real quick. Pretty confident the rings are going away too. We're about to lose a majority of our objects. Yeah, rings will go away too. So, yeah. So that really puts us into Pen EE ring. Well, you don't need that because he already has Pensai from Loki. So he'll have Pensai. He'll have Energy Explosion in cap. Yeah, Fire's all right. I almost wonder... it's kind of the eternal battle with tent poles, right? Like with Thanos, he's got the Legacy Thanos, he's got enough going to really not have to go defensive for his objects. But with Thor Loki being more expensive, I'd be more likely to play a defensive item. So if it was between now and retirement, I'd probably go Soul Gem. I like that pick. Just be able to heal one. Though, I mean, obviously, if they're taking a lot of damage, healing one isn't going to do you much. But healing after every attack, and you're hopefully getting 2 attacks a turn. Sure. So, I'm fine with that. Carnage Symbiote, like I said, is good. Give you a rollout, which is useful. Give you the heal. And here, let me just pull up some objects. Because obviously you want to equip him first turn. If you're investing in a tent pole, you want to give him some sort of object or something. And I guess I could do less than, let's just say 10 points. Like, I'm not going Exo. Victor Mancha gives Mastermind to him. Okay. Because you might have to save 10 points for emotional modifier if you're going against a Thanos. If he had Mastermind, I'd be interested in an illusion generator. Yeah, we're really going to be hurting on what kind of objects we have soon. Now, of course, we're getting objects in Disney Plus and Exosword. So I guess man, there's going to be a time where we're just going to have Exo will rotate also. You're right. We're going to have a 1 month period where we're just going to have a lot of objects. Like, we already have a ton. So that's interesting. Oh, that makes me sad. The H-Style's going away too. I don't think you equip them with any of this stuff. The Angler. There you go. Give him the Angler. No, I think if you're building with Thor Loki, you're definitely either going like, even the Stones of Merlin is a little too risky because you could just lose the object. It's like the Mirror of old days. It's just the Invincible's nice. I would probably put Stones of Merlin on my list of test. Just a thought. Because you want to be able to reduce pen. And Invincible's there. Surfboard. He does have Cosmic, right? No, he doesn't have Cosmic, so no. Nope. I don't really want to double token him. Yeah, he's got Asgardian, Avengers, Cabal, Deity, Mystical Ruler, Warrior. You would think almost anybody that has Cosmic Energy should have Cosmic, but that probably would make Cosmic too strong. So yeah, if I'm building objects and I'm looking at objects for Thor Loki, and this is how I team build tent poles, what am I equipping them with? Alchemical Potion, while humorous, no. Alchemical Fire. I don't know if I want a Chemical Fire. He already deals penetrating with Loki. Maybe if you want to get that Thor. And how many targets does he have? He has 2 targets. Maybe if you're going close combat, but even then. Yeah, I know the fire tokens are good. I'll put it on there, but I don't feel great about equipping Alchemical Fire. If he didn't already have access to Pensai, then I would be more spam fire tokens with 2 attacks. Yeah, I'm not. I like Alchemical Fire. I'm just not super sold on it with him. But it's on the list. Stones of Merlin, I'm gonna maybe put on the list. Like that would be something I want to see. I know you can unequip it, and that stinks. But I don't know. Invincible Impervious might be something there. Ultimate Nullifier, no. Which, that's something I need to build with someday is Ultimate Nullifier. I think it's still pretty decent, but who knows. Emotional Modifier, you're not equipping him with Emotional Modifier by far. That would be crazy. No Isotope. How do you guys feel about the Time platform? And I'll put Emotional Modifier up here. How do we feel about Time platform? Is it just too gimmicky? One and done? Doesn't feel great? No, it's not good. Because keep in mind, it's a May with the Time platform. So it would technically protect you from those big gladiator hits. Could work against a defensive shell using defend. It's meh, not worth it. Okay. I'm kind of in the same thinking. Like, for Thor Loki, for me, the biggest concern I have... My biggest concern is Gladiator. Because right now, I think almost anybody can agree, next to maybe like a Jubilee up or whatever, I feel like Gladiator is the biggest one hit that you can get, a penetrating one hit you could get outside of a double hit Sky Tyrant. I get that. Double hit Sky Tyrant exists. But like it's like the old days of Unimind, right? Can you take a hit for 6 or 7? Like that's how I feel with Gladiator. Like that's what he kind of does. Can you take a hit for 6 from a Gladiator or from a 2 hits for 3 or 4 from Sky Tyrant? And so, yeah, it's Time platform, probably not making it. I almost wish Illusion Generator was better. I like it, not on Thor Loki. If they had Mastermind, I'd be all over it, but no. Carnage Symbiote makes the list. Plasticity, Shape Change, can't go wrong with that. Garbage Can doesn't do anything. Waldo Arms I also like. As far as gems go, I'm trying to stay away from gems because once again, if I'm playing short term, then sure, Soul Gem, and I think that's it. You could go Power Gem, I get it. Boost him up to a crazy 2 hits for 7 damage. Okay, never mind. I am putting Power Gem on the list. Am I playing it? Probably no. But still, hitting Thor 13 for 7 twice. That's appetizing, but it's going to be at the bottom of my list. And then none of these other ones. Oh, the rings aren't even on here. I wonder why the rings aren't on here. Yeah, the healing with the KO with the symbiote can help too. And keep in mind, you're looking for the Codex keyword. Our boy Venom Magneto has Codex. So Venom Magneto's on a lot of teams nowadays. And he will continue to be so because he's good. Just keep that in mind. That, you know, if you need a quick charge with the thing to heal 3 clicks, just go for that Venom Magneto. So, and sorry, my dog's downstairs barking for some reason. Yeah. Now, if I had to go rings, I'd go defensive because I honestly, you know, they see through hindering and elevation, so you're not worried about diamonic. Precision strike might not be bad, so spectral is on the list. But honestly, if I was going rings, because I only had room for 5 points, did I pass him? No. I would probably go Nightbringer over Remaker, just because I feel like stealth is incredibly strong right now. Like, I just feel like stealth is really good. There's not a ton of stealth busting. So out of all of these, Zero or Nightbringer? Yeah, if I was playing Zero, I'd put him on somebody else. Probably not him, but I like Nightbringer. So out of all of these, if I were to equip them today, I probably would still lean Soul Gem just to bump him up one more defense and then get that Steel Energy. I like that. I would consider, if I decided I wanted to do more Waldo, more offensive, I would lean either Waldo Arms or Power Gem. I'd probably do Waldo just because that the +1 attack or defense. But I'd be tempted for Nightbringer. That gives you a little bit of Gladiator protection. Doesn't help you against Sky Tyrant, but it gives you Gladiator protection. I don't mind that. So let's say, so now we're up to 260. So we've got 40 points. That's it. 40 points, maybe less, if we wanted to equip the emotional modifier in someone else. So let's look at all our 40-point figures. I'm not going to go too deep into all the different 40-point figures or pieces we would put on here, unless Gladiator is running with Jubilee. I'll believe it when I see it more. You know, for this last, for the Coffee and Clicks tournament. Now, you might be playing it as Earth. I don't actually remember what your team is in the Coffee and Clicks tournament. But for the Coffee and Clicks tournament, I was anticipating less Dooms, and there were only 2. So for this, I don't know if I'd be worried about... Like, I think Gladiator will start just running the ring at this point. The Diamonic ring, to be honest. So quickly, let's go through some figures. I'm playing monsters with Venom. That's right. Stupid monsters. That's going to be like my new thing. Because I lost against Patrick Frazier and then I lost against Paul Cote with monsters. I'm just not a fan of monster teams. But this is a sidetrack. I am bringing Avengers. I've been still working on Avengers, and Blade is just going to just make the team now, because I just want to run through a monster team with Blade. Like, that's what I want to do so badly. Play him at 75 points, buff the guy out, do the double TK, get him out there, and just run a team through with Blade. It's unlikely to happen, but that's like the dream of is Blade. Because he could just keep going. If you don't remember what Blade does, he's like the Whispers. Everyone talks about, oh, he'll play Blade, but no one's ever played Blade. All these monster teams, telling you, All these monster teams. When Blade attacks a character with monster or mystical keyword, that character can't use defensive powers. Yeah, I mean, I know. But still. Blade is still pretty good. Alright. Where were we? So who am I lining up at 40 points? Oh, that's what I was doing. ADD's kicking in. Son of a gun. Don't clear form. No. Let's reload this page. All right. 40 points. No, it's okay. I'm guilty of it. It's fine. I've learned I have to change how I do things mentally because I just kind of go off on tangents. All right. So here's who I'm thinking about teaming up. 40 points or less. Obviously, one of the main ones is Venom Magneto. He gives you the alpha. Sort of an alpha. He doesn't really actually get you an alpha, but he gets you closer to an alpha, I guess. You would need some way to get Magneto out there, which I don't think there is a way, so... Yeah, and it's also themed, because Magneto does have, Ruler? So that's something. Meta-Man? Molecule Man's going to be... If you're talking about Molecule Man, yeah, Molecule Man is probably tops the list. It's really hard, because you have two options. Okay. Thank you, Azra's, for doing the math. For all those who are watching on Twitch, which, don't forget, if you're watching this on the Clickstuff YouTube, thank you for watching on the Clickstuff YouTube. Please subscribe. Feel free to also go over to my Twitch page and follow me on Twitch. That'd be great. I would appreciate it as well. I try to promote both. If I'm doing something more solo or on my own, I try to promote my own channel, but obviously I'm part of Clickstuff, so I want Clickstuff to succeed as well. But thank you for doing the math. So TK to 8, sidestep to 10. Yeah, I forget that he has sidestep. That actually makes it a lot easier. Running shot to 15, shoot to 25. Yeah. So you don't need Venom Magneto, I don't suppose. He'd be great because he also gives you a leadership. He could carry him around. He's pretty easy to kill, but also not super easy to kill. Right, for Blade, he may use charge as free and additional time. I know, I forgot they changed him. He's still pretty good. I'd probably still consider playing him. Because he gets through stop clicks, which I like. Not that monster has a ton. You're getting me sidetracked. You're getting me sidetracked again. So Venom Magneto probably tops my list. The way I'm viewing this team is that you really have two routes you could go on. Find the quintessential support piece, or go non-theme with Thor Loki, because you're not going to get a high enough theme to do anything, and play like a Professor X, so that way you can juggle some X-Men around to maybe get some pieces that would work. Because that would get you Venom Magneto, but also get you some other X-Men that might be helpful. So you could play Venom Magneto... you could play Professor X at 25. He's 25, right? I'm not making that up. Right, yeah, 25. And then another piece at 15. This is what I hate about X-Men, is that you guys have this flexibility. Well, no, I guess you don't at 15. Another person who would be good right now is Iceman. But you could do even 20, because 45 would put Nightbringer. So you can have two people. You could probably make it work where you can go X-Men and you would give some flexibility, and you may have like a multiple man and somebody else. Yes. So before we get into X-Men, talk about X-Men, let's talk about the main. This is kind of like the main support pieces. Like if I was making an HC Realms type thing, I would almost have the category of support and just have a community voted support section, and you could just click the button and every support piece would come up. So we're done with objects. So every support piece under 40 that I think is worth it. Let's just break that down real quick. And you all know them, but for those that don't, because I'm trying to, this is for a bunch of people, is obviously Venom Magneto, arguably one of the best right now. You've got Molecule Man, who is by far the best, I think, regardless. Faust has crept up in there to be very, very good also. Unfortunately, most of the other guys, like Leland, Marvel, Demon in Armor, they're pretty pricey. So, Faust, MJ, Nightbringer, that's 300. I like that. Let me look at MJ again. Now, that would break theme, right? Because I don't think MJ has mystical. That'd be cool if she did. MJ gets you some paparazzi. That's pretty nice. So we'll put Mary Jane on there. We'll put Marvella on there. Where is she? Here, hold on just a second. All right, sorry about that. My daughter wants to watch Mickey Mouse. You put Marvella on there because she's probably the cheapest barrier you could get. So that's not bad. I mean, she is the cheapest barrier you could get. You could put some of the trouble alerts on there. Remember, they're pretty cheap too. So like a Grodd themes. Lex doesn't theme, but gives you an enhancement if you want. Brainiac doesn't theme, funny enough, because I forgot about the Cosmic. So you probably don't want him, but maybe. Manta, no. I don't know. What do you think? What other support pieces am I just blanking on right now? Pieces that are like, oh yeah, this is who we want. That's 40 points or below. Ideally below. Like Claire Finn doesn't matter because he's already got sidestep. Q, I guess Q. And here, hold on, let me turn on this iPad. Bye. Commissioner, thank you. Yes, Commissioner. Where is he? Oop. We'll just scroll down this list so I don't keep having to hit it. See, this is why I have you guys here. This is why I love doing these sessions. Because it just makes it easier for me. So Commissioner, because he doesn't actually theme, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with not theming. I mean, so his leadership really doesn't count, but police isn't bad, and I probably wouldn't play Commissioner. You could get away with one flash, and then choose the TK one, right? Or is that you have to play both? I think you have to play both. PDTA and Rookie. Yeah, I know. Legacy. Now, I've thought about Legacy Lockjaw, but They don't share any keywords, unfortunately. So that's a negative on Legacy Lockjaw. Chip's okay. Chip would be good to taxi him up, to TK him. The TK, the prob, the ESD from the thingy. Yeah, I can only play Charge Flash. Yeah, I started reading it. This is how my mind goes, guys. I forget little things, and then I catch back up on them. So you guys are kind of my inner thoughts right now. We're on the same wavelength. You're kind of like what my thoughts are saying to me. You're just you're quite a bit faster than they are. So yeah, if I were to build this today, which is what we're trying to do, I would lean either Venom Magneto. I don't think I would go Faust. I get why Faust would be good. He themes the prob, the enhancement, but you really need a TK. I feel like with this team. Chip doesn't have mystical, right? No, he's just Herald, Animal. Yeah. I think you're going to have to go non-theme. Either that or Venom Magneto. I'm honestly not a fan of Valeria Von Doom. I get what she brings to the table. Just not a fan as much anymore. I mean, she does some neat things, but she doesn't share keywords either. And if I want to play someone that has a leadership, I'll probably play it someone who could leadership him off a token. Like, that's why I like Venom Magneto. He at least has leadership. He can carry around. He can TK. You can throw a zero ring out there if you want. So let's put this out here on the table. Now, I don't have a Thor Loki cool little token. So we'll just pull a Thor out so we don't confuse people. We'll just say that we'll just do this Thor. Yeah, when VVD first came out, man, she was amazing. But it's just, the perplex, the leadership. I don't know if it's because it's just cheaper point. I don't really know why she's fallen off. I mean, she still sees some play. But yeah, I guess power creep. So if we play this version of the team, we'll say Soul Gem. What does the Thor do? I will show you. Do I have a Soul Gem? That's right, I don't have any gems. Oh, I have some gems. So we'll just say one of these we'll say this is the Soul Gem. That gives us 5 points. 5 points you could put into a zero ring? I don't know. That's tricky. That's real tricky. Real quick into what Thor does. Again, here's the legacy card if you want to look at it real quick. This is up on our Clickstuff webpage. It's the latest post on there. I'm not... I don't really care about WWE Ring. I've never been a fan of that. Latveria Village doesn't really do much because you're not going to win theme like any. So, I'd almost go another object just to give you options in case they steal one, because people could steal an object, obviously, but they're less likely to be able to steal two. Unless they're all light objects and there's a bunch of Latverian peasants running around. But even still, that's a lot of actions to steal two. It is 250 points. Beef Boy. Super beefy. So this is 285. We're going to pretend we live in a world where Thanos isn't a problem. And in the Coffee and Clicks tournament, he hasn't been that big of a problem. But we're going to live in a world where he's not going to be a huge problem going forward. Nah, never mind. I'm not a fan. I'm already off the gems. I'm feeling more Nightbringer. Yeah, I'm feeling Nightbringer and emotional. I'm feeling emotional, guys. So this is 15. So this is 300. This is Thor Loki, for those confused. I just don't have a token for him. And I don't think there's one out there. I could see if someone has one yet. But not gonna lie, it doesn't feel great. This team doesn't feel great. Yeah, like if you could go both, because keep in mind, he can actually like equip both. So like you could get both equips going with two people. Hi there, DBZ9410. If you are a fan of Heroclix, you're in the right place. That's what we're talking about today. Let me see if I got a token real quick, if they have tokens for this new guy yet. No tokens. Sad day. All right, anyway, let's roll with this. So you could, theoretically, with Thor Loki, this is Thor Loki for us. 5/6 of my team. So you could free TK the Nightbringer over, power TK this here, and you can equip him, and then next turn equip Magneto. Doesn't feel great. And depending on how they're moving, you can say, okay, I'm going to take the turn to actually equip. Or, and you can free TK him out and he could go. The only problem is that you can't get him up there. He has no way of getting up there. The Thanos was 175. He is the best legacy card out for single base, but Surtur and the Ice Giant coming will be Ultra Meta 2. True. I like that. I do think, right now, I think Thanos is probably the best. Like, yeah, I agree. He's the best legacy card, like, best buildable legacy card. Lockjaw's close second. So, like I said, this doesn't feel great. Not gonna lie. Doesn't feel great. Like, I'm not super, like, digging it, but I'm not dogging it. Oh, no. Is this going to be a new series for me? Dig it or dog it? I hope not. I keep coming up with catchy titles, and then I don't continue to keep doing the series. So this is one variant so far. Is 250 too big with swarm teams out? Yeah, potentially. I think if you could get him going, because the catch with swarm teams is they all kind of bunch up a bit. So if you're going against Animal, yeah, it's a bit spooky. Now, one thing I will say, like the need for barrier. This is kind of an aside, if you will. Does anybody else feel like the need for barrier has gone down a tiny bit? Am I just crazy? Yeah, Thanos and Lockjaw are very close together. I feel like barrier is not at all. You don't feel like it's got down a bit. I don't know if it's because I was playing Shifting Widow, but I didn't play a single barrier on the team, and I did not suffer from that at all. Now, I played 3 matches, but I was fine. And it's because I had to play it aggressive. So I feel like it's like a lesser need. Yeah, because Thanos and Jubilee are around. You know, Jubilee just gets rid of your barrier. If you're making barrier, I mean, Molecule Man could just come over and just be like, whoops, it's my barrier now. Thanos could just get around it. So, I mean, there's a lot of... I don't know what this guy is saying. We're going to take that out. I don't know what that means, but anyway, I don't know. I don't think it. I want to still say that I feel like this figure can surprise some people, and he might be better if you take him out of the vacuum. And problem is, we just got Thanos. That's significantly cheaper. And he does so much more. So this might be something where Thor Loki's better down the road. But right now I'm kind of just sitting here thinking, meh. I might play him occasionally. He's perfectly fine casual. Now the X-Men version, you could switch in Venom Magneto. You could switch in some of your other... You could get a retail if you want. Because you can switch in a Dark Phoenix. Or someone else. But yeah, maybe 250 is a little too much. I had high hopes. Because even with Felix and Mary Jane, like you want the ability to alpha with him. But I think he struggles hard against Thanos, just in general. And to be honest, I think Thanos struggles against him, too. X-Men could give you Cypher, which is solid for TK, Perplex, and Barrier. Cypher's what? 20 points? 25? 35. 35, duh. So yeah, you could do that, and then a 10-point something. Which would be a multiple man. Did you see the leaks of the X-Men set with new mechanics? It's so weird. Oh, yeah. We could talk about... Yeah, Cypher's 35. Yeah, we could talk about... We'll talk about the X-Men set definitely in some of the next podcast episode I'm wagering. I think Exoswords is going to be earth-shattering. Meta-shattering. Just because we're getting so many figures, so many objects, and then this new tarot card mechanic. So... That's massive. Because we're getting 2 sets worth of figures. 2 sets worth of figures, and then objects, and then this tarot card mechanic. So I'm pumped for Exoswords. And unfortunately, Exoswords is kind of dwarf a little bit of Disney Plus. It already dwarfed this set. This set feels not great because it doesn't have all the extra goodies. So before we wrap up Thor and Loki, yeah, Disney Plus does have objects, and everyone's pumped about Disney Plus because we're living, like, most sets, not everyone's comic book fans, so not everyone gets into those. I feel like movie sets and TV sets, almost everyone has seen the Disney Plus stuff. Most people have. So I think a lot of people are now more interested in the set. Kind of like... X-Men Animated or Batman Animated, JLU. Everyone was pumped for those sets because those were TV shows we used to watch. So Disney Plus is going to be super hype. I think we could all agree on that. War of the Realms is just going to be kind of disappointing. And so far, I mean, this is going off on a tangent a little bit, but yeah, the cards are broken. We don't know the mechanic on the cards. I'm going to wager, judging by the powers listed on the cards, that there's going to be some sort of limiting factor some level of randomness, something to make it where you can't just immediately play the cards and they're just a gimme. So I would say, but I also think it's probably going to be, it's a cool looking mechanic, so I don't think it's going to be something that's just going to be bad. It looks too good to be bad. Yeah, but DC's getting shafted. DC, I mean, I think we're getting a DC set later this year. There's no way we're not. I don't remember the last time we didn't get at least one DC set a year. So there's no way we're not getting a DC set. We just don't know what it is yet. But I'm guessing it's in the fall, which will be a long time between DC sets. I get it. All right, so we're done with Thor Loki. I'm off the wagon now. Is it meta? I'm going to say no. I think it could be a fun little, if you're into tentpole, fun thing. Like even this popping out the tokens, most likely by the time you get to that, your other figures are going to be dead and you can't even use those tokens because they'll be the only figures left and the game's over. Now, someone can prove me wrong and play this to success, like PJ. PJ probably will. And who knows, I might try to play it at a tournament. I'm still kind of knee-deep in Avengers, but... Oh, thank you, El No Side. That actually reminds me, with Professor X, you can also switch in Bishop Prime. So that actually gives you a little bit of Gladiator protection. You know, I know you'll try it. Yeah, it's definitely a fun figure. I think maybe the X-Men version is the best just because you get so many options with Cypher, Venom Magneto, and the Prime Bishop. But, oh well. So the other half of this session, this Is It Meta, is something that's really heavy in War of the Realms. We've got a couple of them in Empire. And I feel like it's a power everyone looked at and everyone said, okay, neat, but meh. And so this is the next session of, this is the next part of Is It Meta? Oh, you can't, right? Gladiator is a Prime too? Are you talking about if you're trying to play him with Bishop Prime? I mean, you would with... I think you're talking to someone else and not me. Recruiter. Let's talk about Recruiter. Now, I waved Recruiter off. We waved Recruiter off in the Tier Master because it is pretty bad. Let's not sugarcoat anything. The power, there's a lot of figures that have this, more and more. They're all keyword based. So the one we're looking at is Agent May from Empire. And that is power. Choose a character with blank keyword in your KO area that hasn't been chosen for or generated by a recruiter effect. If you do, generate a character with the blank keyword from your sideline that has a lower point value than the chosen character. This game, the generated character can't be replaced, and your opponent scores them immediately instead of when it's KO'd. So let's clear up a little things before we start delving into Recruiter more. The way it works is you have a figure that shares this keyword, dies. That means your recruiter can take a power action and bring someone who shares that keyword that you already have on your sideline, has to be from the sideline. You can then generate them next to that recruiter. They can't be replaced, and the person immediately scores them. Now, it's not, this was brought up in one of the chats I'm in. It's not something that the opponent scores them immediately instead of when it's KO'd. So it's not like an ID character where you hit them and they immediately are dead. It's strictly, they are generated, whatever their points total is, you score it. And because of that way of scoring, that's why they can't be replaced. If anyone's wondering why the replaced thing is in there. It's because with replacements, remember you could replace figures and then whatever the greater value is when they are KO'd, that's what you take, but they score points immediately. So either way, it's an interesting mechanic, but right now it feels like an overcosted one because most of the figures that have it aren't good. Now we'll get to Doctor Strange in just a second. He's the closest one we got. There's two I want to talk about. And this might grow. Let's keep in mind, this might grow because obviously we've seen a lot. And WizKids has been really good about adding these new mechanics, which I love. I love new mechanics. Love it. Because it adds just another wrinkle in the game you got to be prepared for, or you can add to your team. So Shield, let's go through all of the recruiter ones that we have. Let's just talk recruiters, and obviously we don't know everything of War of the Realms at the time of this recording or this live stream, so we don't know everything. But you could type in recruiter here in HC Realms, and it'll pull up everyone that has it. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We know 8 right now, and that might change. It probably will. We don't know all the figures in War of the Realms. Black Panthers for Wakanda. That's out. Wakanda's bad. No good Wakanda. Shield, bad. And what I'm looking for with Recruiter, I should emphasize, is I'm looking for a keyword with a lot of options, but primarily strong low point options. Someone that I could bring in, give up a little bit of points, but that can make a big impact on a team. That's what I'm looking for. And I will say this before we go into it. You should not. You can. Azareth probably will. You should not build your team around Recruiter. You need to consider Recruiter as a secondary, oh, this is cool, I have it on a back burner in case I need some extra firepower type power. It's not like mission points where you want to go all in. I think it's something where it's like, okay, I could play one of these figures, not give up a lot of, not put a lot of points into it. And if I'm in dire straits, I could activate it if I want to. I think if you build around it and try to make it your main thing, you're going to set yourself up for failure. I thought they wanted to get new players for the game, and that's why they redid the powers. They do. They still want new players, and I think this game is very accessible. All the miniatures gains, all the fast forces, it's much more accessible than it used to be. But adding cool little wrinkles like this is enough to make us higher tier competitive players interested while not making the game crazy for new players, if that makes sense. That's how I view all of these new mechanics. It's not a must for when you're playing your casual or local events. It's just something that's cool that could be played in like different bigger events. And at that point, you're no longer the target audience for some of these. So Wakanda out. 60 points, that's an okay dial, but Wakanda doesn't have those keywords. Shield, right now, out. This is not a good shield piece anyway. Jumping over to War of the Realms. Asgardian. Probably not. Not great. I dislike what they did to Pulse Wave. I think Pulse Wave took too big of a nerf. I agree there. It needs to be bumped up, I think, on damage. The fact it could turn off some powers is great, but I do think it's a little bit of wanting a little too much. Doctor Strange will skip because like people are saying, I think he is the most desirable for this because he does do mystical. So kind of one of our first generic keywords for this. So we'll come back to Doctor Strange. He is by far, let's clear this out, he's on the list. Because he's an okay dial, but not great. Wasp, 60 points, too much. But there's another Avenger that's cheaper. That's Captain America. I don't know why we needed two Avengers recruiters. Like if Captain America was Soldier instead, then choo-choo, let's go. Because I think Soldier would be enough. Like I think Soldier would have some stuff. But Avengers, we've got two. So he's got two. Captain Marvel Kree, not a lot of good Kree out there. 50 points for this is just, that's bad. The only other one I'm putting on this list is because he's cheap. His dial ain't that bad. Is Baron Zemo. Work with me here. Let's start with Baron Zemo, and we'll get to the easier one, Doctor Strange. I don't hate Baron Zemo. You can play him on Ruler, Soldier, the new Wrecking Crew. A lot of those figures have Masters of Evil on it. 35 points for this dial is almost playable on its own. TK, Stealth, Mastermind, Leadership, Outwit. I don't hate that. Now, Master of Evil, remember, it's not as good as anymore. It's Colossal Stamina. Is it still Colossal Stamina? I thought they changed that. I'm going to look up team abilities. I thought they changed Masters of Evil. Yeah, when an adjacent friendly character makes a close attack, modify the target's defense -1 if the target is adjacent to this character. Yeah, well, Rounds needs to update. So yeah, I actually don't hate this Baron Zemo, but let's look at Masters of Evil to see if there's enough out there. Because once again, for Recruiter to work, the keyword has to be strong enough where you can have some pieces on a team for it, but it also has to have enough low point pieces that you could bring in. Because you're not loading up your sideline with 9 Recruiter pieces. We're talking 2, 3 maximum, right? If you go beyond 3, I think you're now investing too much into Recruiter. Just my personal opinion. So let's look at Masters of Evil. Sorry, my son wants to play the Switch. All right. So let's look at Masters of Evil Modern. All right. So Executioner, 50 points. No. 90 points, 75. Baron Zemo, obviously. Wrecker. You're probably not bringing him in. Here's Bulldozer. 60 points. All right. Sorry, he really wants to play the Switch. Taskmaster, 50 points. Meh. Ultron, big Ultron. Definitely not happening. Diablo. It's Prime Diablo. So you probably couldn't play him because you're probably playing Wrecker. But I don't hate that. Bringing in a Prime Diablo to blow some stuff up with the alchemical fire. I really don't hate that. I'm sure people have asked already, but thoughts on the new Chase Spider-Man? Here, how about this? I'm going to, if I have a pencil, I do have a pencil. I'm going to write down some of these questions because I'm not that cool of a Twitch guy yet to be able to have these questions held. I get sidetracked way too many times. So I'm going to table that one, and I'm going to come back to it, Takoko or Takoko, and we'll talk Chase Spidey here in a minute. But no, we have not talked about it yet. So no to all of these figures. Claw, no. Yeah, there just may not be enough lower points. I prefer Main Force Prime Wrecker over Sideline Prime Diablo. Yeah, and we might do a subsequent Is It a Meta session working on Wrecker. Because once again, I like mission points. I'm eager to find a mission point team that works. And Wrecker is probably one of the closer ones that we have. Black Knight, no. Melter, no. Radioactive Man, no. Other Baron Zemo. Fixer, no. Atlas is okay. 10 for 4. Retail for free. Atlas might not be bad. Songbird for Pulse Wave is okay. Blackheath, no. Absorbing Man. That's probably it. I don't care about these other pieces. Like Titania to get a power gem, no. So Masters of Evil is probably isn't it, because you've got a Prime and then you've got a an Atlas. That's not great. Now the cream of the crop is obviously going to be Doctor Strange. So let's jump to Doctor Strange and let's talk about him a bit. He's probably the most playable recruiter piece because mystical is a fair keyword. Now, this is all where we still don't have all the pieces of War of the Realms. I think we're still missing a few. And actually, let's go out here and look. Like, we've got, man, all these ads. Come on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry if you get dizzy from all this. We've got all the commons, I believe. I think we've got all the uncommons. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah, rares. We're missing 1, 2, which one of them I think was Mary Jane. Thor. We're missing the Gamora Prime. We're not missing as much as I thought we were. We're missing Prime Destroyer. Missing a couple super rares. Unless Strange might have been one of them, and some chases. So if I were a betting man, I'd say we probably have all the recruiters we were going to get. Now that I look at it. Was Doctor Strange out here? Did I pass over him? Yeah, he was here. He's at 50. So, Doctor Strange has the most potential. At least for the next 6 months. Does anybody in chat know why? I just want one word, one figure, why Doctor Strange has the most potential. I'll give it a second to see if anybody can guess. What figure makes Doctor Strange's recruiter ability actually playable? We've got one answer. I'll give another 30 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. All right, well, our one answer was correct. Windigo, by far, is what makes this actually playable, because Windigo is only 15 points. Now, the catch with Windigo is you would want, obviously, to main force a few Windigos. Yeah, Windigo, Blackheart have mystical. I believe he does. I wouldn't. You're not playing him on the sideline for this. Why am I going somewhere else? You wouldn't play him on the sideline for this. Also, Blade, if you could go against monsters. Fair. That's fair. Windigo is by far, I think, the biggest one. He packs the most punch. And for those who know, Recruiter doesn't specify that it has to be a standard character. If you do generate a character from your sideline that has a lower point value than the chosen character. So if we look just at mystical, and let's say for recruiter we want it under 40 points. That's how I feel about it. You've got Scarlet Witch at 30. That's okay. You don't really want to bring a support piece with a recruiter. Doesn't make sense. Now you could bring in these Lokis, I believe. I think you can. I think I heard a rumor that you could. Let's see. Richter. Richter wouldn't be bad at 40. I like Richter. 40 is kind of pushing it, though. But Windigo is obviously the cream of the crop. Now, you would only want to play Windigo if you were already main forcing Windigos. Now, you could get away with it, but the reason why is because you want to already have wounded tokens out there. Because you want to be able to TK Strange up or have Strange out there. You lose a mystical piece, which there's a lot out there. But even if it's a cheap Windigo piece, that's fine. To then bring in a Windigo. And then that Windigo be able to just charge Flurry and then make another attack because he ended his movement. That's a ton of firepower for 15 points. And you're giving up the 15 points immediately. But he can also heal. So, I mean, you're gaining more than 15 points. Potentially. So this is by far the most meta. Is it meta? I think the ultimate question comes from two things. About whether Mystical Recruiter is enough to be meta. I have two questions. One, is Doctor Strange good enough as a figure, or is he just going to be a heavy target? And two, does Mystical have enough to be a good team regardless? Because right now, Windigos are played on monster teams, not mystical teams. So let's look at our mystical options. Because I think if you can field a strong mystical team, then you might have something. But if Mystical's just not strong in general, and I know you could go non-theme and just play, like you could go Avengers or Illuminati and just have some people that have the mystical keyword out there. And Avengers and Illuminati mean you could just have Strange switched out if you don't like him. You think Mystical is strong enough. Let's look at Mystical real quick. Let's take a look at what's out there. I honestly haven't looked at Mystical in a hot minute. Mystical used to be amazing, and then it kind of fell off a bit. So WWE, forget them. They're probably retiring anyway. None of those pieces. I'm just looking for what determines for me if a team is it meta? Is a keyword meta? Does it have enough heavy hitters? Enough big pieces to carry the team? Or enough of a gimmick to do a team? So, Malekith, Mission Point, nah. Iron Allfather, no. Thor Loki, funny. Infamous Iron Man, no. Beast, no. Norn Rad, no. Doctor Doom storyline, none of them. Blackheart, yeah. So obviously, right from the get-go, Blackheart. By far the biggest option for Mystical. By far. Weapon Hex, would love to, but no. None of these other chases, no. You do have some Dooms, so that's good. That's good. You could go to DJ Doom if you wanted to. Steal some objects, steal a emotional modifier, and then switch to someone else. Or Prisoner. You could go Prisoner as well. Don't hate it. Love me a Doom. Still probably some of my favorite pieces in Modern right now is the Doom chases. They're still incredibly strong. If Azareth is still here, obviously Jubilee. That's a gimme. So, I mean, Recruiter could be a fallback if Jubilee falls, but you're playing Jubilee on an X-Men team, not a Doctor Strange team. Juggernaut. Tyler would love it if Juggernaut was meta, but no. No to any of these. Doppelganger. Everyone forgot Doppelganger. Is Doppelganger still good? Is he still bad? What happened to Doppelganger? Is it because he's a prime? Did everybody forget about Doppelganger? Is that the reason why? We were talking earlier about Valeria Von Doom. Is just the Fantastic Four set bad now? Because remember, God Emperor Doom used to be a hot thing for a minute. Like, this used to be okay. I think people were comparing him to Prime Vulture. I mean, I'd put him on the list. I think he's not bad. I'm not a big Venom Doctor Strange fan, but he would obviously go on the list just because he gives you a TK and leadership and prob. I don't like any of these. GED is close, but no one's playing him anymore. Cosmic Clash, no. Blade, Mandarin, just playing. None of those are good. Now, obviously, Wendigos. Don't sleep on Colossus. Colossus as a retail isn't bad either. Understood? Not understood. Underwhelmed? Not underwhelmed. What's the word I'm thinking of? Underestimated? Underestimated is the word I was thinking of. You got Raven. No. Faust, obviously. Faust obviously makes every mystical team. 100%. If you're playing a mystical team and do not have Felix Faust on there, then you are making a grave mistake. Not Hades, not Firstborn, not King Shazam. You could maybe play a Billy for some Perplex, but even he's not nearly as good. So could you make a team out of Blackheart, Dooms, Windigos, Felix Faust, Billy Batsons? Yeah, I think you could. I think it's a solid enough team. I think it's by far a solid team. So that answers one question. The one question was, is Mystical good enough? I think in today's meta, I think if Blackheart wasn't around, then no. I don't know if Dooms and Doppelgangers are enough. Blackheart on his own, though, is good enough. Blackheart is what brought Mystical back. So sure, we'll say that yes, you could play Mystical, and you'll be perfectly fine. And who knows? Scarlet Witch is always a Mystical. We're getting Disney Plus, so Mystical is just going to continue to grow. Ellie Pixie, that's true. Ellie Pixie isn't bad. I like it. So that's what we got for Mystical. So we answered our one or two questions. Is Mystical good enough? And then is Doctor Strange good enough? And I think this is where the concerns come into play. Doctor Strange, 50 points. Let's look at him in a vacuum. 50 points. Does he do enough for 50 points? Flying, Mystical, phasing, 8. Okay, so he's not an attacker, really. He could carry up somebody. That's fine. Defenders. When this character is attacked, you may replace a defense value with the printed defense value of an adjacent friendly character so they can use this team ability. Probably not coming up. Mystics. Right now is a little spooky, but still fine. Energy Explosion. Okay. Now, I think this is his biggest question mark. Me highlighting it does not help anything. 18 ESD, that's it. That is it. So you know what that tells me about Doctor Strange is that he is a big, fat target. So it's supposed to be a target. He is a target. You see him on your team. If I see him on your team, 50 points is a nice, big, juicy number that I would like to go for, especially if that means I take out your Blackheart or your Doppelganger or your Doom and you're going to start bringing out Wendigos, then I'm going to go after Doctor Strange, 100%. Now, that's good if you want a deterrent from attacking Blackheart or Doppelganger or Doctor Strange or Venom Strange or whoever. And you could give him like the Space Gem if you really want to. Probably not. Now, he does have the other trait, free once per turn for all characters with his trait. Choose a friendly character with the mystical keyword. This turn, when that chosen character attacks, after resolutions, deal a hit target 1 penetrating damage. So that's solid. That's actually pretty solid for taking out black hearts. Other black hearts. Because you would deal the damage, get to stop click, and then you just deal 1 pen damage. So it's solid. I don't know if that trait alone makes him 50. But this is what scares me, is the ESD 18. And Mystical doesn't have a lot of defenses. I mean, I guess Felix helps. Like, Strange could carry Felix around, and Felix can be kind of like a body blocker and a protector of sorts. Because you want Strange kind of up there, right? Like, he's kind of got to be up there, because if he's in your starting zone and you're giving him a power action to drop a Windigo, well, the Windigo's in your starting zone. He's not any good. I think this is what I mean by you can't exactly go all into Recruiter. Because this doesn't feel good. To spend 50 points and then start trying to build around this power. Now, Mentor in the Mystic Arts might be good enough on a mystical team. Doesn't do anything against like a Thanos or a Gladiator per se, who could just reduce penetrating. But if you get Blackheart going with some EE and you just want to deal an extra 1 damage, that's fine. You don't have to be within range, it's just in general. So I think I put the answer to my second question, or I guess it was my first earlier. Is Doctor Strange good enough? And I would probably answer it, Because no one's going to deny bringing in a Windigo who could just go to town. It's pretty good. That's pretty juicy. But can Doctor Strange survive the trip? And that's kind of what I'm concerned about. Because if you're building this team, I'd probably go 1 Blackheart, 1 Doctor Doom. Mystical doesn't really have any whatchamacallits that I'm really interested in. Any primes outside of Doppelganger, but I don't think Doppelganger really fits this team. So you don't need Venom Doctor Strange either. So this would probably be your standard. You would fill in with some more Windigos for sure. 2 more. Then you would want Reign of Terror and 2 objects. You don't have any TK on this team, which stinks. I mean, your Windigos can go pick up the... Oh, no, they don't have sidestep yet. I mean, Faust can go pick up stuff because you can place him away and he can move back. So you can pick up your objects if you want. I feel like you would almost want to play a TK of some sort. So who's our mystical TKers? Pixie was an option for the movement, the carry thing. Who's our mystical TKers, guys? Who in mystical has a TK? Scarlet Witch at 30. Where is she? She's like one of my favorite pieces from this set right now. Scarlet Witch. Venom Doctor Strange. I don't really like that Venom Doctor Strange. Oh, I'm in Empire. No wonder I couldn't find her. 30-point TK prop, phasing, passenger 3. She's by far better than Pixie. So I would try to fit her on. So you could drop a Windigo play a Scarlet Witch, and then go with 2 rings or 1 object for Blackheart, so like a Power Gem or Alchemical Fire. He doesn't really need Alchemical Fire, but though Alchemical Fire plus Doctor Strange is ping damage, you're pinging a lot of people for some pen damage. That's pretty nice. I don't hate this. This is a +7. Now, you could take away Doom and play a second Blackheart. I think Doom just adds enough to the team to be dangerous. Because it counteracts your matchups against Animal. It counteracts the ones with all the paparazzi. Anyone producing. It'll counteract Wrecker. Maybe. Or you could go to Valeria Von Doom for the switch-in matchups, because I think that's criminally underrated. I don't hate this. Your sideline is practically open. So with it open, you could go Windigos. You can go... Is there anybody besides Windigos you would want to put on this team? Sideline for Recruiter. Because if anything dies on the team, it's 30 points. Like Scarlet Witch or Felix or something. So we'll say under 30 points. You could have a cherry on top figure, but you really don't want to give up more than that, right? Dr. Doom is okay. Dragon Man. Dark Britain's okay. Charge Flurry. Actually, that's pretty respectable. And if he's KO'd again, someone could get the wing symbol, toughness, willpower, and super strength. And he can reduce pen damage. I'd be considered... Yeah, I would probably put Dr. Dark Britain. Did I call him Dr. Britain? Dark Britain on my sideline. I like that. So I would probably put like Dark Britain... 3 Windigos or something on my sideline. Or 2 Windigos, and then the rest are trouble alerts. Maybe a Sentinel in there. I don't hate it. Way better than the Thor and Loki try. Like, if I were to rate this team, I would probably put it at a B. B+, maybe. In the right hands, it could probably win tournaments, I think. But I think that's because less of the Doctor Strange Recruiter and more of the fact that all these other pieces are really good. What say you? Which is fine. Once again, Recruiter isn't... I don't feel like Recruiter's supposed to be there as a, I'm going to build around this trait. I think it's purely a, I'm going to add it as an aside. At least that's how I feel. Any other suggestions for Recruiter? I think it's good. I mean, I think it's okay. I think Mystical is by far the best chance. I think if we had gotten a Soldier one, that would have been okay. Because there's, I feel like, some good low point ones. So I feel like if we got more 50, like 30 to 40 point recruiters with more generic keywords, then this could really take off and be a good sideline filling mechanic. Like if we got more Baron Zemos, but with good keywords. Because shoot, I would play Baron Zemo all day over Doctor Strange. If Baron Zemo had good keywords. if he wasn't just Masters of Evil. Let's see, where was he again? Zemo. Oh, it's even War of the Realms too? Yeah. Yeah, if he was Soldier, then I think that'd be good. Or Ruler or something. What keywords would you guys like to see with Recruiter, and what do you think would be good? Cosmic would be good. Who else has good low point figures that are just annoying to deal with? Scientist? Monster? Yeah, please no Monster. Please. I mean, Monster would just be more Wendigos. And I guess that's something to keep in mind with Monster. Monster, I feel like, is going to become way worse when rotation happens. But, yeah, Monster, Soldier, Animal. Animal, very good idea, yeah. Because at that point, you kill a maggot, you gain a lockjaw. Which then adds more survivability. Commissioner, Sky Tyrant, Scarab. True, but if you're playing... I will say this, you're probably not going to get a Commissioner, because if you're playing Monster, you're probably playing Commissioner anyway, and he's unique, so probably not that. And you're probably playing... I guess with Monster, it wouldn't work that well after Wendigos are gone, right? Because there's not a lot of high point monsters that you're sending out there and losing. Because remember, it has to be less points, so it can't be equal. If it's equal points, this trait would be way better. So if you lose a Scarab, you can't bring in a Sky Tyrant. Because it had to be less points. Unless you were playing Scarab at 75 or Sky Tyrant at 75, which no one... Or 100, sorry, for Sky Tyrant. No one's doing that. Animal, I think, would be pretty threatening. Lose a Hammer Eye, gain another Maggot. Lose Chip, lose Chip and gain a Lockjaw. Oofta. That would be nuts. Scientists, underrated. Thank you, Miguel. Scientists are very underrated. So yeah, is there good enough low point scientists? That's a question. I mean, most scientist teams are just low point scientists. But is there a scientist that could come in and just wreck? Because I think that's what you want, is a low point scientist that could come in and start doing stuff. Right? Like a high evolutionary, 30 point. Yeah, Animal is really good. Windigo has Animal too. Yeah, just remember, Wendigo's going away at some point, like this next rotation. So he's finally getting his time to shine, which is great. Flash, 30-point Flash. Yep. And even some of these trouble alerts, or let's cause trouble, wouldn't necessarily be bad to bring in at 10 points. Bringing in a Brainiac. That'd be cool. I don't know if you do a power action for it, but maybe. So, Mr. Oz? Nah, you wouldn't spend the points for that. Yeah, it's probably be Flash, and even a Giganta would be pretty good at 25 points. Bring her in to retail? It'd be 2 power actions, I get it, but that ain't bad. But once again, we don't have Scientists, we don't have Animal, we don't have any of those right now. I think that's really the only way for this mechanic to take off. I think Mystical is a good first step. And this, honestly, would be a team I'd probably test. Like, I'll probably take a picture of this and add it to my test list. And just to see if Recruiter is good enough to spend 50 points on a Doctor Strange for it. I think the answer is maybe. So we got probably about... I was going to do about 2 hours, so we're sitting at 9:41 Eastern. So I wanted to kind of close this out with some general talk. I know we had the one question. If anybody has any questions or want my opinion on something, any of the new stuff we've seen, any suggestions for future Is It a Meta sessions, I want to try to do one at least every 2 weeks, maybe every week if something's hot is coming out. But this is kind of the Q&A, just general chatting session, part of the session. We went through the 2 things I wanted to talk about. But the question we got about is Chase Spider-Man. Now, we previewed that today it's right here, on our Clickstuff. I mean, you're here. Most of you are watching us on the Clickstuff YouTube channel. You don't have to go yet, but if you haven't seen it, check out the video that Dan and Jason, yay, Jason, he's back. They previewed the brick and they pulled this Spider-Man. Now, this Spider-Man, if you didn't see the back of the card, this is from the, I believe, Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine #1, or Amazing Spider. I think it's Astonishing. I did a little deep dive into that. That's one where they have like a lot of time travel going on. So if you're wondering why time dilation, time diamonds, it's like a time heist type, not a time heist, but it's a time related story arc, like a mini series. So that's where this comes from. 6 clicks. Now we'll obviously go into more detail on the podcast and whatnot, but for my initial thoughts, I think he's okay. I don't think he's amazing. Good keywords. Super senses, when Spider-Man uses it, increase the result by +1 for each time the attack was re-rolled. Yeah, 75 is a bit hard to fit, though. I agree. When making an attack roll, Spider-Man may roll 3 dice instead of 2, and after any re-rolls or dice replacements, choose 1 die to ignore, and then kind of the same, the reverse. Now, I wish it wasn't just on Spider-Man. I wish his power worked on any of your, like, adjacent friendly characters. That would make him a lot more playable, because it is only when he's being attacked. Like, when Spider-Man is attacked, you may choose the opposing character. You may choose the opposing attacker rolls 3 dice instead of 2, and then you can, after rerolls and whatnot, you choose 1 die to ignore. That'd be better if it was for adjacent also. But he gives safeguard opposing prob, which is nice. There's a lot of prob in this game. And I feel like WizKids is going a lot of anti-prob lately. Between Prime, Ultron, Faust, this Spider-Man. This is getting to be curtail some of this prob shenanigans. I think he's okay. Will he make teams? Maybe. I would almost rather, at 75 points, go to 80 points and play Prime Ultron. Or Ultron Pym. So that way, if you're using prob, you at least take damage. If they are a theme team. But he's okay. Pretty cool looking sculpt. Spider-Man family's big. You know, we just also got the... it's not on here yet. This Mary Jane. When establishing theme teams, characters on your starting force with the Asgardian or deity keyword gains Spider-Man family. So, I mean, that's pretty big. She has the call-in from the Spider-Verse. When she hits with an attack, choose a hit target. Till your next turn, the character has a mobile, modifies attack or defense. So we have a theme team buster, theme team figure that helps with that. Spider-Man family grows. I think there's no way Carnage goes away as far as a set that may be retiring. No way Carnage goes. It's in 2020. I think they'll go up to Fantastic Four. I think it'll either be they cut it off at CAAV for 2020, or they go back to their old roots and say, all right, everything up to Fantastic Four, and Fantastic Four's the oldest set. Maybe the Cosmic Clash is still there, but maybe not. So Carnage lives, so that means Spider-Man family's still really good. So I'm fine with that. But those are my thoughts for Chase Spider-Man. He's pretty good. If I pulled him, I'd probably be like, okay. Probably better than some of the other chases we've seen. Like, I'm not a big fan of... where is he? Is it really only one? Oh, no. Why do they have chases here? Human Torch is a chase, is he not? Isn't Rocket Raccoon and Human Torch chases? Has Realms got this wrong? I could swear they were chases. Human Torch is pretty good. I do like the Human Torch. I'm not super... I don't know. Actually, all three chases are pretty good. So that is a toughie. Yes, Torch and Rocket are chases. Okay, thank you. I'm not crazy. Sorry, I'm probably driving you crazy going up and down. So Realms needs to fix that. But these other two chases, Human Torch, I think we'll see play. Maybe at 100 points just to do Lamp, because he could do Old Lamp, and he shares a keyword with Lockjaw, so you could carry him up and do Lamp stuff again. Rocket Raccoon at 50. It really depends on this. Once per turn for all characters with the effect when Rocket Raccoon uses Outwit. After resolutions, deal the target character 1 damage if he has 1 or more action tokens. He's okay. I don't know. How does everybody feel about War of the Realms so far? We're missing some super rares, maybe 1 or 2 rares, 5 chases we're missing. We've only seen 3. And we're missing all the legacy cards except for 3. We've seen Bulldozer, Thor and Loki, and Valkyrie. How's everybody feeling about it? Good, bad, ugly. Let's just move on to Disney Plus. That's how I feel sometimes about it. You know, I was thinking about it, and I was really thinking about what makes a set a good set. And maybe I need to name this this part of the section Alex's Ramblings, because I feel like that's what this part is. Not a whole lot interests me in this set. Probably just going to buy singles. That's absolutely fair. I'm probably going the similar route. Now, I usually buy a brick to support my local stores. And so keep that in mind, too. If you're buying singles, that's great. But make sure you still support your local stores. We are what keeps stores alive with Heroclix. If we just stop buying because of a bad set, that's fine. But if you keep doing it, then I don't know. It's a little bit of a concern. Empire got that golden brick, Venom Mags, and Ultron Pim. Nice, nice, very nice. We'll play sealed, but nothing that I would really hunt for. I mean, there's definitely good pieces in the set. I think this would be a good discussion for a podcast episode or just in general. I love talking theory, like game theory, general theory of HeroClix. And one of them is just sets in general. What makes us consider sets to be good sets and bad sets? Like if we look back in 2021, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets. Now, House of X was a layover, sure, but we'll count it. When we look back at this particular year, the ones I think people look at fondly, everyone loves Wonder Woman, right? Gave us the Secret Six, Faust, Shifty Focus, bunch of other pieces. So I think everyone looks at Wonder Woman 80 as good. A lot of good meta pieces, a lot of decent regular pieces too. Future Foundation, is thought of okay, because we did get Molecule Man out of it, High Evolutionary, and the Dooms. And maybe like one or two other pieces. But really, remember, commons, uncommons, rares were kind of all garbage outside of maybe Molecule Man and Nathaniel. So to me, that just means the set wasn't that good. House of X is similar. You got Bishop. You got Maggot. Sure, Kate Pride, but she's for switch outs. But all these chases don't see play. Apocalypse is the closest one. I think another factor that plays into whether a set was bad is collation. Remember, House of X had really bad collation. Future Foundation actually doubled down on it. I remember getting a lot of bricks with just like a prime. And you would get all the primes or something, but like never any chases. Yeah, my seal gains were not fun due to the CU characters. And I think that's what makes Wonder Woman so good. Because remember, Wonder Woman's when they started benching the powers. And everyone said, boo, boo, benching the powers. And from a meta standpoint, yeah, boo, benching the powers. But from a sealed standpoint, man, did Wonder Woman 80 just feel great as a sealed set. Because they very specifically benched certain powers. So that way you had some Pensai, but you had no Invincible. So that means a lot of people with Pensai felt good. Because you were always going through stuff. Now you obviously had your like Superman who was way overpowered for sealed. And we don't talk about sealed a lot. Obviously on the podcast. But you had a lot of good pieces that just felt good. I remember I went out and actually traveled a bit when I could during the pandemic or after the pandemic to find sealed tournaments to play in. I traveled like an hour to go to a sealed tournament because it's like I really enjoy playing sealed in this set. Because, you know, you could play some of these super rares. The chases were good, but like outside of Sky Tyrant, the chases weren't just plain out winning you matches. And even so, even if you pulled a King Shazam, Superman was a common. So, I mean, you could just play him to counteract Shazam. Funny enough. So, like, Wonder Woman felt great. And I think that's another reason why people look fondly on Wonder Woman, because it was a great sealed set. It had a lot of good pieces for the meta. Which is funny, because Wonder Woman was new rules, which a lot of people didn't agree with. And it benched powers, which a lot of people didn't agree with. But out of 2021, I think it's the most liked set by far. Rise and Fall ran into the same issue with meh CUR. Also, it was just another X-Men set, and people were tired of X-Men. We didn't get a ton of meta pieces out of it. Now, we got some good ones, the ones that we did. We got Emperor Gladiator. We got Mimics. Diamond Patch. Blackheart. Maybe Dark Beast. But not a lot. 4 to 5. I miss Full Damage Pulse Wave. Yeah. I think with the way new powers are written, where you could combine things and attack, that makes things a little dangerous with Pulse Wave, but I think it just makes getting Pulse Wave worse. Like Emperor Vulcan from House of X was cool, but now Pulse Wave, meh. If Rise and Fall didn't exist, people wouldn't have been too tired seeing X of Swords. There's some truth to that. I think people are going to be perfectly fine with X of Swords because they're seeing, one, because I've started reading it, and so far it's a great series, like a great comic event. Like Rise and Fall obviously was an old event. X of Swords, I think people are going to be excited because it's the return of the tournament kits. It's a return to special bricks for in-store events. And I think that's what people have been asking for years. People have been asking for years for the return of Age of Ultron, War of Light, Avengers versus X-Men. The return to cool in-store events. Because WizKids a couple years ago went away from that. And now that we're trying to bring people back to the store, bring people back to the game, X of Swords looks amazing. Not gonna lie. Like, I could care less that it's X-Men. I'm just super pumped with the fact that we're getting an in-store event with objects, with a cool new mechanic. So I think X of Swords will be fine. I think a ton of people are going to play it. Now, their PR's got to work on it. I saw some people confused about the extra cost for the kits because it includes bricks. So their PR could be a little bit better. But some people, no matter how much PR you do, they're just not going to understand it. So starting out 2022, right now we know of 3 sets. We assume there's a DC set. So that would be the 4th set. We have War of the Realms, which isn't starting off hot. Not going to lie. Not starting off hot. We've got Disney Plus, which before X of Swords, by far super hyped. Still super hyped. We've got X of Swords, and then we got this mythical DC set that we all assume will happen at some point. Because I don't honestly know the last time we've had such a big gap in DC. Let's see. So we have Wonder Woman was April 2021. Next was JLU, March of 2020. So that's a little bit over a year. So this will be even longer than that. Before JLU, we had Batman. No, we had Rebirth. I forgot about Rebirth. Rebirth was about a year and 2 months. Rebirth to Batman was less than a year. Not by much. Before Batman was Harley, which was slightly less than a year. Before Harley was Joker's Wild. Well, it was Elseworlds. I don't count that one. But you could count it, I guess, because that was an anniversary. Which a lot of people are questioning. You know, this is supposed to be 20th anniversary this year, right? '20th is a big one. We haven't heard anything about like a 20th anniversary set. Like that might be what X of Swords is supposed to be. It's supposed to be kind of like a big anniversary thing. But, you know, 20 years is pretty big. Just a reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, on the Clickstuff YouTube, I am streaming to both locations, my own personal Twitch and YouTube, the Clickstuff YouTube. Please be sure to, what do people say on YouTube videos? Click that bell so that way you get notified anytime we go live. I know I try to go live on here. I'm going to keep going live on here when I can. And then I know Daniel and them show different tournaments or different things on here all the time. And if you feel so inclined, please feel free to go to my Twitch channel and like there. That's where I kind of do a lot of these things as well, trying to grow that over there on Twitch. I would be most appreciative, so that way maybe I could get to being some cool guy on Twitch. That'd be nice. Any other questions? We're hitting 10 o'clock my time. Any questions, comments, desires, things you've always wanted to talk about with Heroclix? Crazy theories. We're not game theory, but we could talk clicks theory. I love me some clicks theory. I think War of the Realms is going to be a fine set. Is it going to wow us? No. I think Empire did a pretty good job. We liked Empire, right? And I think War of the Realms was just kind of a okay set until we get to Disney Plus. I think the recruiter mechanic is decent for Mystical, bad for everyone else. It was not a mechanic that could carry a set like Krakoan Revival kind of did with House of X, like Captain Sidekick kind of did with Future Foundation, with Wonder Woman. Don't remember what the mechanic was there. That was just the kind of new rules. What was the new mechanic in Rise and Fall? Rally die. Like Rally die, which is solid. You know, you don't build your team around Rally die outside of literally literally Moira McTaggart. That's funny. I clicked on the one. But yeah, it's to sum up, I was predicting a new Spider-Man set this year since it's his 60th year. Huh. Well, there's still the end of the year, right? So we have X of Swords is kind of the summer event. That'll feed into the fall, which usually the fall, winter, we get 2 sets. Usually one in like August, September, and one in like November, December. So we predict one of those is DC. Almost has to be. So the other one could be a Spider-Man themed event. And the King in Black story had ended too. It's a good point also. But they may be saving that, because I feel like there's always a delay when stories are done. And I think they also give a little bit, like, there's a bit of a delay so that way they could get all the figures in. You know, there's always a 1 to 2 year delay when it comes to just making a set to get everything approved through Marvel, through DC, all of that stuff. But there's also maybe some sort of delay because I think a lot of people buy comic books, but I think a lot of people also take in things from like Marvel Unlimited, and there's a 6-month delay with that. So if you're not actively buying King of Black, you won't really read all of it for 6 months on Marvel Unlimited. You're still like in the thick of it. So they might wait for that as well. So that might be a 2013 type thing. Maybe an early 2013 type of thing. At least that's what I think. I would love a King of Black story. I think a lot of people are predicting that. I think a lot of people are predicting the DC set to be something maybe all dark metal or something like that, because there hasn't been a lot of DC comic events, right? I don't think there has, but I'm not 100% sure. So I don't know. I think the future right now looks bright. And I've said this once. I've said it on the podcast. I've said it to a few people. I think right now Heroclix has been in the best spot from a competitive playability as it has been in years. And now I've played for a long time. I've been playing, not super long, but I've been like not like, let's see, how long, far? 7 years. Wow, it'll be 7 years. So here, hold on a sec. All right. I started back in Age of Ultron. So that means I played competitive when like Flash was still alive, then War of Light was still legal when I was playing competitively. So, I mean, I've been playing competitive figures since 2014. And I would say, judging from the meta that I've experienced, I feel like this is probably one of the more balanced There's certainly some pieces that get crazy, but the meta is so ebbs and flows and prepares for things and counters things. Sorry, I'm opening a moon pie for my daughter real quick. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That I think, like, it just counters each other so much. It's not so much where it's like, oh, this is just going to be so overwhelming. I think it's people just have learned to counter. There's so many options to counter crazy figures nowadays. Even Thanos, right? Thanos, Legacy Thanos, when he came out, I thought this is an insane figure because he could just shoot through blocking and doesn't destroy it. So he just can boop around. But people have already prepared for it. We've already got emotional modifier. I prepared for it with the hard counter of Shifty Widow. But it's one of those, it just, you're on top for a bit and then you fall for a bit. And that hasn't happened that often, I don't feel like. I don't know. Am I crazy? What do you guys think? Playing in the meta, playing in competitive scene. Like, all we need right now are tournaments. That's what we need right now. Is we need tournaments to play in. Like, the Coffee and Clicks charity event had a lot of people playing it. 40-something players. And it's just a charity event. Last year, they didn't have half of this many people. But Anthony threw a great tournament. Sad I didn't make cut. I took a gamble on my team. But man, is it a fun tournament. And I think people are still thirsty for those type of tournaments. I think there's room for online play to continue. Maybe not as the streak we were continuing before, which was an insane amount. More like this, where it's like a 1 or 2 event type thing. So yeah. So I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up for me, because I think Dan is streaming on Facebook now, the top 16 with Jack Smith and Jay Solomon. So if you're watching this on our YouTube, we might switch over to that at some point, or it's just going to be streaming on Facebook. I didn't mean to be taking so much time. Thank you for checking in. This is just one of many episodes of the Is This a Meta? What we learned tonight, Thor Loki, probably not meta. Recruiter, mystical recruiter, sure. I think it could make a splash. But overall, the mechanics just not there yet. Add in more keywords and we might be talking. But once again, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the YouTube, click stuff. Feel free to go over to my Twitch channel if you're watching on there. Or if you haven't, please like and subscribe or follow on there. That I would greatly appreciate it. And that way you can catch when I go live or if we go live on here. But I think Dan right now is streaming the game between Jackson and Jay Solomon. So if you're looking for more entertainment, man, are we turning it into a 24/7 clicks chant? No, we're not doing that. But I would definitely flip over to there and check it out because it's going to be a good game. It's a Thanos versus, I don't remember Jay's team, unfortunately. But thank you guys for watching. I'm glad this worked well with YouTube and Twitch. So I'll be continuing to do this and maybe stream something next week. But otherwise, thank you guys, and I will catch you next time. See ya.